They changed the keypad code on the server room before I even made it back from Starbucks. 22 years of building this company's security from the ground up, erased with a 4-digit PIN and a laminated badge that said, D. Kensington Digital Transformation Lead. The badge photo was crooked, like everything else this kid was about to do to my company. I'm Michael Chen, by the way, 49 years old, spent 6 years in the NSA's Cybersecurity Directorate before another 16 building corporate security infrastructure that actually works. And yeah, I just got fired for holding what my new boss called legacy security credentials that don't align with our cloud-native architecture. Look, I've seen plenty of changes over the years. New firewalls, better encryption standards, improved threat detection. All good stuff. But this wasn't about improvements. This was about replacement. Some 29-year-old Stanford MBA named Barrett Kensington thought 22 years of hands-on cybersecurity experience could be packaged into APIs and automated compliance dashboards. Here's the thing about SOC 2 Type 2 certifications and master encryption key custody. They're not like your driver's license or some cloud certification you can transfer around. The American Institute of CPS spends months auditing every single control. They check your access management, your incident response, how you handle breaches when things go sideways. The certification goes with the person who built the system, not the position. If I'm not here, legally speaking, this infrastructure can't operate. Period. But I didn't explain that to Derek. Figured a Stanford MBA could figure out basic federal compliance on his own. 3 weeks ago, Meridian Data Solutions brought Kensington in as VP of Engineering, fresh from a consulting gig where he'd helped companies streamline legacy security overhead. His first day, he wore Allbirds sneakers that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment and carried a MacBook Pro with 17 stickers from tech conferences I'd never heard of. Kensington's big idea was simple. Artificial intelligence could replace what he called outdated human-in-the-loop security protocols. He'd walk through the NOC pointing at monitors, taking screenshots like he was planning to redesign everything from scratch. The analysts would look at each other when he asked stuff like, "Can we automate the incident response escalation?" Or, "What's the ROI on manual penetration testing?" You want to know what really got to me? Second week, he started talking about my master key custody being redundant in a zero-trust environment. I explained that federal contracts require a designated custodian for cryptographic keys, handling classified data. The NSA doesn't care about zero-trust marketing. They care about someone with the clearance and authority to revoke access when things go wrong. Kensington smiled like I just told him we still used fax machines, said the regulations would evolve with the platform, and forward-thinking companies needed to anticipate compliance modernization. That's when I knew this wasn't going to end well. I checked my watch. Old habit from the NSA days. The security fob sat in my pocket, same as always. Everything running normal. SIM dashboards showing green across the board. Intrusion detection systems humming their steady rhythm through the network. All systems nominal. For now. Third week, he scheduled what he called a transition discussion. Been around corporate long enough to know what that means. I walked into the conference room, glass walls, view of the parking garage through frosted film. Kensington was already there with Patricia Holloway from legal, and Greg Stanton, the CEO's executive assistant. He went through the usual script about organizational evolution and strategic realignment. Corporate speak for "you're fired." Then he got to the point. "Michael, your encryption key custody, while appreciated historically, isn't essential to our operational model going forward. We're implementing AI-driven security orchestration that eliminates single point of failure dependencies." I checked my watch again, still running, steady heartbeat from the server room 3 floors down, normal background traffic on the network, everything stable. "I see," I said. Kensington leaned forward like he was doing me a favor. "We're offering a generous severance package, and we'd love to keep you on as a consultant for knowledge transfer during the transition." Knowledge transfer. 22 years of cybersecurity architecture was something you download onto a USB drive. You know what's funny? I looked at Patricia from legal. She was staring at her laptop like she wanted to be anywhere else. Greg had gone pale and kept glancing toward the door. They knew something Kensington didn't. "When do you need my badge?" I asked. Kensington looked relieved. Probably thought this was going easier than expected. Today would be great. We want to hit the ground running with the new security structure. I unclipped my security badge from my belt and set it on the table next to my key fob. Stood up and shook Kensington's hand. Good luck with the transition, Derek. He smiled that consultant smile. Thanks, Michael. Really appreciate your professionalism here. I walked out of that conference room and headed straight for my car. Didn't stop at my office. Didn't say goodbye to the analysts on shift. Didn't grab the ceramic mug with NSA No Such Agency printed on it that I'd kept on my desk for 12 years. Sat in my Honda for a minute, engine running, looking back at the building. The Meridian Data Solutions logo gleamed against the glass facade like a promise nobody intended to keep. Everything looked normal. Peaceful, even. Then I pulled out my phone and logged into the AWS root account. Found the master key management console, active status, rotation schedule for next quarter, tied to compliance certification number SOC 28847.47, all the audits and penetration tests I'd maintained for 16 years. Bottom of the screen was an option I'd never had reason to click before, Emergency Key Destruction Protocol. I clicked it. Warning dialog popped up. This action will immediately invalidate all derived encryption keys under 47 CFR 231. Secure destruction requires biometric confirmation and will trigger automatic notification to AICPA Oversight Board, federal contracting officers, and facility management. All encrypted data will become permanently inaccessible pending restoration from offline backup by designated custodian. I hit confirm. Screen refreshed to a simple message. Key Destruction Protocol executed. Confirmation number SOC 2, DEST 8847-2024 U315. Estimated recovery time, 180 to 270 days. That was it. 22 years of cryptographic architecture, gone, and with it, Meridian Data Solutions' legal authority to operate as a federal contractor. Drove home to my townhouse about 20 miles from the office. Made myself a sandwich, opened a beer, sat on the balcony. My phone started ringing around 3:30. Kensington's number. Let it go to voicemail. Rang again. Patricia from legal voicemail. Then Greg Stanton called. That one I answered. Michael? His voice was tight. Mr. Caldwell needs to speak with you. Can you come back in? I'm retired, Greg. Michael, please. There's a situation. The AICPA called. Something about our SOC 2 certification. What about it? They said it's been suspended. That can't be right, can it? I took a sip of beer. Checked my watch out of habit. 3:47 p.m. Shift change would be starting soon. Seems right to me. Silence on the other end. Then, Michael, they're saying we have to suspend all federal contract work immediately. Like right now. Federal agents are on the way. Sounds like a problem for Derek and his AI system. Michael, this isn't funny. The CEO is asking who authorized the key destruction. Nobody authorized it, Greg. I executed it myself. It's my custodianship. Long silence. You can't do that. Actually, I can. Federal contracting regulations designated custodian has emergency destruction authority for cryptographic compromise. I deemed my termination a compromise event. But the contracts, the data, will be encrypted garbage until the AICPA certifies a new custodian, and we complete full key regeneration. Could take months, maybe a year, depending on how long it takes to find someone with TSI clearance and 16 years of institutional knowledge. I could hear voices in the background, shouting. Someone asking where the hell I was. Michael, please, can we fix this? Can you come back? Greg, I appreciate you calling, but you can't just undestroy cryptographic keys. The AICPA doesn't work that way, and even if they did, I don't have the keys anymore. They're mathematically gone. Hung up, turned off the phone. Next morning, drove past the office on my way to Home Depot. 3 black SUVs in the executive parking. 2 Treasury Department vehicles. Couple of sedans that probably belonged to FBI cybercrime investigators. Yellow tape across the server room entrance like a crime scene. The company had issued a routine security maintenance notice at 4:17 p.m. the previous day, according to the emergency broadcast on local news. Anchors seemed confused about why maintenance would need federal agents and police tape. Bought some Bextain and headed home. Had a railing that needed refinishing. Phone had 43 missed calls when I turned it back on that evening. Kensington tried 16 times. Patricia from legal, 11 times. Greg, 9 times. Rest were numbers I didn't recognize, probably reporters. One voicemail caught my attention. Richard Caldwell, CEO himself. His voice was calm, measured, the kind of tone you use when you're trying real hard not to scream. "Michael, this is Richard Caldwell. I think there's been a misunderstanding here. I'd like to talk with you as soon as possible about resolving this situation. Please call me directly." Deleted it. Second voicemail was Kensington. He sounded different, panicked. "Michael, look, maybe we moved too fast on the transition. The FBI is saying they need you specifically to assist with recovery. Something about continuity of cryptographic custody. Can we talk? I think we can work something out here." Deleted that one too. By the third day, the story had made national news. Cybersecurity firm locked out of own systems was trending on Twitter. The AICPA issued a statement about ensuring proper key custody protocols and investigating potential control violations. Kensington got fired on day 4, escorted out by security just like I was, except his escort included FBI agents asking questions about regulatory compliance and potential criminal negligence. Markets weren't happy either. Meridian stock dropped 31% in 3 days. Company was hemorrhaging about $2 million per day in lost federal contract revenue, plus penalties for failing to meet SLA commitments. Local news kept running the same footage, aerial shots of the glass building with dark windows, empty parking lots, federal agents in windbreakers walking around the server room. They interviewed neighbors, who said they'd never seen anything like it. Some guy from the coffee shop said he was worried about his data being hacked. Had to laugh at that one. Data was safer than ever, nobody could access it, including the company. Day 5. Richard Caldwell himself showed up at my front door. Silver hair, tailored suit, but he looked like he hadn't slept all week. "Michael," he said when I opened the door. "We need to talk." Invited him in. Made coffee. We sat at my kitchen table like old neighbors. Caldwell had been with Meridian for 8 years. Good man mostly. Just listened to the wrong consultants sometimes. "I'll cut to the chase," he said. "Kensington screwed up. Bad. I should have read your custodianship agreements more carefully before approving his organizational changes." I sipped my coffee and waited. Security fob on the counter next to the sugar bowl, deactivated like everything else I'd built. House was quiet except for the refrigerator humming and the clock on the wall ticking away the seconds. The FBI wants a full forensic audit before they'll consider allowing new key generation. 6 months minimum. Maybe longer. We're looking at $150 million in losses plus federal fines, plus potential criminal charges if they determine we operated with inadequate security oversight. That's rough, Richard. "Michael, I'm asking you to come back. Full reinstatement. Salary increase, whatever it takes." I set down my coffee mug. "Can't do it, Richard." His face went white. "What do you mean?" "Once you execute emergency destruction, you can't just destroy. The AICPA requires complete RE certification, background investigation, polygraph examination, technical assessment, the whole process. Same as if I was applying for the first time. 10 months minimum." Caldwell stared at me. You could see the math running in his head. 10 months times $2 million a day. You knew this would happen. I knew Kensington didn't understand federal contracting regulations. You could have warned him. Could have. But he was the expert on digital transformation and compliance modernization. Figured he had it covered. Caldwell stood up slowly. "Michael, you've destroyed this company." "No, Richard. You destroyed it when you let a 29-year-old MBA with zero cybersecurity experience fire your only designated cryptographic custodian." He walked to the door, then turned back. "Was it worth it?" "Ask me again in 10 months, I said. Caldwell left without another word. I finished my deck staining. Local news was calling it the Meridian data crisis now. Stock was still tanking, down 47% by the end of the month. Week 2. The media circus really ramped up. CNBC sent a crew to film outside my house. I didn't talk to them, but my neighbor did. Said I was the quiet guy who always took out his trash on Tuesdays. Not exactly the villain story they were looking for. Meanwhile, Meridian was bleeding talent. Senior security engineers started jumping ship for jobs at other firms. Can't blame them. Nobody wants to work for a company that fires cybersecurity experts for having outdated skill sets. Month 4, the dominoes really started falling. Meridian filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Turns out, $150 million in losses plus ongoing federal investigations, plus a complete inability to access client data, makes it hard to pay your bills. Kensington got indicted. Federal grand jury handed down charges for conspiracy to violate federal security regulations and wire fraud, apparently promising companies you can streamline federal compliance when you know damn well those requirements can't be streamlined counts as fraud. His LinkedIn profile disappeared overnight. Funny how that works. The really satisfying part came when the AICPA released their preliminary investigation report. 53 pages that basically said Meridian's security modernization strategy was the most negligent thing they'd seen in 20 years of oversight. My favorite quote: "The dismissal of the organization's sole cryptographic custodian represents a fundamental misunderstanding of federal security controls that borders on willful negligence." Borders on willful negligence. That's auditors speak for these people are idiots. Month 8. I got a call from the new interim management team. They wanted to know if I'd consider coming back as Chief Information Security Officer. Appreciate the offer, I told them, but I'm still waiting on my AICPA recertification. How much longer? Could be another 6 months, maybe more. What if we waited? Company would be fully bankrupt by then. Probably better to find someone else. Truth is, I hadn't even started the ARI certification process. Wasn't planning to. At 49, with 28 years of cybersecurity experience, I'd earned the right to retire on my own terms. Kensington's trial started month 9. Jury took 3 hours to convict him on all counts. 24 months federal prison, $300,000 fine, lifetime ban from working in regulated industries. Local paper headline: Cybersecurity consultant gets 2 years for creative interpretation of federal law. I framed that one. Month 10. The company finally got sold to a consortium that actually understood cybersecurity. New owners spent $30 million just bringing the infrastructure back up to operational standards. Still took them another 8 months to get a new custodian certified and system access restored. Total shutdown time 1 year, 6 months. Total cost somewhere north of $200 million. All because a 29-year-old with an MBA thought he knew more about cybersecurity than the person who'd spent 2 decades learning how to do it right. These days, I keep busy with woodworking projects and amateur radio. Turns out former NSA operators have pretty good technical backgrounds for radio work. Plus, it's nice having a communication system that doesn't depend on corporate IT departments. Kensington's out on parole now, working at his cousin's real estate office somewhere in Arizona. Heard he's not allowed to use the word disruption in any professional context. Court order. Seems fair. Thanks for listening. Sometimes the most dangerous words in any workplace are, "We don't need you anymore." The algorithms don't care about your MBA. They only care about who knows how to keep them from becoming weapons.